Hey team, welcome back. Just to another week of us talking about what we're going to do, how we're going to function as a worship team. We talk practical and theological things about worship and what we actually do. Last week, I introduced you to the Crossmark Worship Team vision statement. And we went through that and we spoke about the reason for a vision statement to get us all shooting at the same target. Just as a reminder, the vision statement for the Crossmark Worship Team is the Crossmark Worship Team exists to create an interactive environment for congregations to worship God through music and the arts. We desire to lead God's people to His throne through musical excellence, creativity, and passion. Above all, we desire for God to be glorified through everything we do as a worship team. That's our vision statement. That's what we're going to get to behind together, and we're going to accomplish this year as a team. Today, I want to break that down, to go through some of it, and just the first line. So that first statement, the first sentence in our vision statement, says that the Crossmark Worship Team exists to create interactive environments for God's people to worship Him through music and the arts. So what does that mean? First of all, we create environments. Think of it as, your local coffee shop, or just your favorite coffee shop to go to. You go to and there's an environment as you walk in. You have the smell of the coffee. You have the tables out, loose chatter around. You may have some music playing in the background. It feels like a place that you could hang out in, enjoy your coffee, read a paper, scroll through some Facebook or something, and chill out. And that's an environment that they've created for their coffee shop. And we are doing the same thing in the sanctuary for God's people. So when they come in, they know this is a place that I can connect with God and worship Him. And as we create this environment, what we use is music and the arts. We use graphics, we use sound, we use lighting. All of this comes together for one sole purpose, and that is that God's people can worship Him. One thing we have to remember is as we're creating this environment, as we're taking the elements that we have of music and the arts, and we're bringing them together to create an environment, there's one purpose for that. And that is to connect God's people to Him through worship, which is done by the Son through the Spirit. So what we have to think is, what are we doing, and does it add to or distract from that environment? Can someone come in and know this is a place where I worship God? And if some element we have of music, lights, graphics, or anything like that distracts from that, then we need to eliminate it. If we can think of something to add that would aid in the worship, then we should add that immediately. So we should always be evaluating what we're doing and the environment we're creating in the sanctuary, so that it's lends itself to worship, where people feel comfortable. This is a place that I can express my love and worship to God as a community of believers here in the sanctuary at Crossmark Church. One other piece of this environment is we want to make it an interactive environment. We're not here to perform for an audience. We're here to worship with a congregation. We want to invite them to worship with us. Some people would walk into a modern church, maybe even ours, and they would see the team on the stage, the congregation in their seats, and think this is a performance for an audience. And if you want to look at it that way, it is, but not in that correct order. The performers are not those on the platform. The performers are those in the seats, the congregation, worshiping. The audience is God. And in that analogy, we should be in the orchestra pit, supporting the worship and the vocals of the congregation. That is our place. And we do that through music and the arts. This is how we craft the environment, create an interactive environment for God's people to worship Him. We use music and the arts, and I honestly think that God gave us arts and music for His glory. I think we all would agree that music has a special place. When we sing a song, we remember the words to it, and that's why it's so important to pick the right songs for us to use in our worship. But that's what we get to use to create an environment that is lends itself to worship, that people can walk in and be like, this is a place where I can connect with God. We as a team, as a worship team at Crossmark, exist to create interactive environments so that God's people can worship Him through music and the arts. In the future videos, we'll talk more about the following sentences in our vision statement and break those apart. And hopefully at the end, we'll all have a common goal, we'll all have a common target, and we'll be striving for that as a team. I thank you guys for all the time and effort you put in to this ministry. And I think we have made leaps and bounds in the short time I've been here because of all the effort you all have put into it. And I thank you for that. And we'll see you next week.